Welcome back, guys. Today the doggy here and I are going to go over a somewhat controversial topic, and that is tire grooving. Now, I made a short on this a while back, and people had all mixed opinions, but I'm going to show you how to properly groove a tire with a little tire grooving tool like this, and why you would do this and all that kind of stuff we'll talk about when we do it. So, first thing is first, you need to figure out your tread depth. Now, you can just use the tip of a screwdriver or something really non-scientific, even a pair of calipers, whatever, but you basically just want to get a rough idea of your tread depth. Okay, so we're at about 7:30 seconds on these, so you figure they're about half worn or so, maybe not quite, which is fine. But what that's going to do is that's going to tell us, roughly speaking, how far to set our cut depth. So if you look at any tire groover, you have this metal band here. And that's how you're actually cutting the rubber. So it's going in here and going, and then when it heats up, it cuts the rubber. I'll show you that in a minute. So what we're going to do here is set this to about 7:30 seconds so that we don't cut too deep. Because if you cut too deep, what'll happen is you'll blow your tire theoretically, because you're going to get into the carcass of the tire. You only want to cut the tread, which of course wears down over time anyway, not the carcass of the tire. So if we look at this, I just so happen to be pretty darn close. We'll probably bump that out ever so slightly, but we're pretty close to where we need to be. So we'll do a couple test cuts too. So the real step one is making sure your tire spins, jacking it up, but that's okay. We just did that. And then we're going to plug this guy in and we're going to let it heat up. Now you're going to want to leave this thing on a non-flammable surface. Obviously the driveway will work. And then we're going to kind of evaluate what we want to do here. So the goal is going to be to remove all of these center lugs, and we're going to widen the spaces between the lugs a little bit. These are little support ribs. The reason these are here is because it makes the tire make less sound. However, as the tire wears, it then blocks your water and snow and anything else from evacuating in the tread blocks. It also reduces your, kind of pulling grip on the tread block. And it greatly reduces the effectiveness of the tire. So if you knock these out about halfway through the tire's life, you can really get yourself some traction back, which is convenient. And I don't know, I find it kind of therapeutic to sit here and groove the tires, to be honest. Not that everybody's going to have that opinion, but that is mine. I don't like that at all. So we should be hot enough. I guess we'll find out in a second here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a little test pass. So we're going to come in the side here. And knock out that connector. We're still not hot enough yet. So eventually you hit a critical temperature where it gets hot enough to really do this. And so what we're going to do is I like to go one tread block at a time. So I'll go all the way around these, all the way around these, and these. And it's not quite up to temp yet, but it should glide right through like that. Okay, so it's hot enough now. And you should be able to very quickly just go in here and get rid of all these. And if you bump into the next lug and cut it a little bit, don't worry about it. So you would think it would look bad because you're just taking these chunks out of the rubber. But believe it or not, after 500 to 1,000 miles, it all kind of blends in after a while, and you don't even really remember that you grooved them. But then when you need the traction, you definitely remember that you grooved them. So I'm going to put you on time lapse. We're going to go ahead, get the rest of these done, and then you'll see the end result here after we do all 4 tires. By the way, one other thing to consider, make sure you're not cutting too deep. Do a couple test cuts. I'm like right kind of where I need to be, a little bit up above the carcass of the tire, so I'm in really good shape. And I'll check each tire, of course, too, because the tires could be worn slightly different from each other. But pretty straightforward. Now, if you're worried about tire balance issues, I'm not going to say it couldn't happen. However, I've personally never had a problem. Take that for what it's worth. I would totally understand if that was a concern of yours. I think it's valid. I just figure absolute worst case scenario, I'll get them rebalanced, and I'm willing to take that chance for the added snow traction and whatnot. So that's just my opinion. And this will work on any and all tires, pretty much, that I can think of. Now, if you really, really want to get crazy with off-road traction, you could start splitting other lugs that aren't even there from the factory and whatever, but I do think at that point you'd probably find that you would cause some extra damage, right? You'd actually wind up causing that's gonna happen once in a while, don't worry about it. Then you might cause like the tire to get unbalanced, so keep that in mind. But by the time this is all said and done, you're removing a handful of ounces of rubber from the entire tire, and you're doing it pretty symmetrically. So I think that's why the balance really doesn't get screwed up. So that's kind of where we're at. So as you can see, you kind of turn an all season into an all terrain, sort of, kind of. Now obviously you're not changing tire compounds, you know, you're not adding any like rated performance to it, but you may or may not see some good snow performance increase. I wouldn't try this on a highway tire and expect it to be great in ice, but you know, you can maybe get a little extra life out of a tire that's already kind of good for a scenario. As you can see, you're gonna want to either kind of pick out these rubber pieces, or when you just drive down the road, they will fly out. I would recommend that you at least pick most of them out, just so you're not like littering chunks of rubber everywhere along the road. You know, try to be somewhat respectful of that kind of stuff, getting into sewer drains and stuff, but you know, whatever, that's your call. Yeah, I try to get most of them out like I did there, and it looks pretty darn good. So we're gonna do this on the rest of the tires, and then we'll get back with you guys. So as you'll see in all this time lapse, this is not the most ergonomic activity in the world, and your hands and kind of forearms will get a little bit sore. As good as it does cut through the rubber, it takes a little bit of force, and you're doing essentially hundreds of cuts, right? Another thing to keep in mind, it probably is good to replace that blade, you know, every set of tires basically. And basically by the end of this, I had done my 8th tire with that blade. It was a new blade the last time I did a set of 4, and it definitely gets a little duller. Just like that. I've got them all done. They look a lot better. Definitely much more winter ready, winter focused. You got a nice little all-terrain looking tread on them, and we'll see how they do. If they still don't perform to my standards, well, then guess what? I'll have to put new tires on it. But for now, I think they're in pretty good shape. I probably should rotate them. These 3 seem pretty good, similar tread. Then maybe this one's a little bit lower. So anyway, not a big deal. We'll get some more life out of them, and yeah, that's that. Relatively simple. Takes about an hour or so. As always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.